Hi, my name is Stevens Cadet, student of Black Politics, the online course with Professor Jerome Hunt. I'm here to do my presentation for The Breakthrough by Gwen Ifill. Gwen Ifill was born September 29th, 1955 in New York City. She bounced around from Massachusetts and Pennsylvania due to her father's ministry. She graduated in 1977 with a Bachelor's of Arts in Communications from Simmons College in Boston. She interned for the Boston Herald. She was interning there while she was in college, and afterwards she was given a job because during her internship, she was told "nigger, go home" in a letter. So through embarrassment, the Boston Herald basically hired her after graduating. She also worked for the Baltimore Evening Sun, the Washington Post, New York Times, and NBC. Her first publication was the book that I'm reviewing right now, which is called The Breakthrough: Politics and Race in the Age of Barack Obama. The book was published on the inauguration of Obama's first term. Inspiration for the book. She wrote the book based on a theme that she seemed to see growing in politics during that time while she was a journalist covering politics. The story she wanted to tell was basically about the entire generation of African Americans benefiting from the civil rights movement and basically how it affected politics today. The theme of the book is just like what I said, black politics, and how black politics, its structure, and how many people in today's generation are directly affected and benefited from the struggles of the people during the civil rights movement in the 1960s. It is also noted in the book that many of today's politicians, especially black politicians such as Barack Obama during his presidential campaign in 2007 to 2008, basically was trying to adhere more to than just the black agenda. They had to gear more towards American agenda and show that they were not just out to help the black people, but to help Americans as a whole. This was discussed further in Chapter 8, which is called The Politics of Identity. And another theme is basically how Obama broke the racial barrier in politics, on how forever politics will no longer be the same now that we have a black president. And that was discussed more in Chapter 10, which is called The Next Wave. My opinion, some of the most important chapters, some of the chapters that I will touch on, basically with the key points, are Chapter 1, Breaking Through. Chapter 6, Legacy Politics, which basically talks about Democrats ignoring African Americans and what their cause was, or what would best benefit African Americans. Chapter 8, The Politics of Identity, which is basically the universal agenda for Americans, instead of just the black agenda, which basically talks about Obama and basically how he basically started to become a president, or somebody that seemed like a prime candidate to be the president by being asked what his agenda was for a black agenda, and basically switching it and saying it's the same for all Americans. And also Chapter 10, The Next Wave, which is basically Obama and many other politicians on how they broke the barrier of black politics in U.S. and government. Some of the key points, the book is structured loosely around 4 prominent figures. Cory Booker, who was Newark's mayor. He was an All-American tight end with degrees from Stanford, Oxford, and Yale. He's presided over an extraordinary reduction in the city's crime rate. Deval Patrick, who was Massachusetts governor, he was a Harvard-educated lawyer from Chicago South Side, so he had some ties with Obama as well. He became the state's first African-American governor without as much as a dog catcher's election under his belt. Congressman Arthur Davis was one of Obama's earliest supporters. He started out a Democrat from 2001 to 2007, and it also states in the book how he switched in 2008 after Obama became president and went in office, and he started criticizing Obama a little bit, but he was one of the first early supporters during Barack Obama's first presidential campaign. While he was fending off attacks from people like Al Sharpton and black supporters as well. So he wasn't just getting flack in Alabama for being a black man trying to run for the representation seat. He was also getting flack from black people as well, because they were saying that he was not the proper figure to basically identify what the black cause was. The breakthrough, which is like a phrase that's coined throughout the book, and it's part of the title. It argues that the new generation of black politics presents a twofold challenge to American politics at large and to the black political establishment in particular. Breakthrough politics is driven by demographics and what the U.S. population will look like in the future. In the book, it says that here in 2012, the U.S. population was 69% white, but by 2020 it'll go down to 61%. So by simply divine intervention, the breakthrough or breakthrough politics is something that's going to be more advantageous, because now as the white majority is decreasing, the minority is increasing. So it'll be representing more of the minority and basically speaking for their cause. Some of the other 3 points was one of the chapters that I said, was one of the most important to me, or I thought was most important to the book, and spoke more to what the book was entailing, was chapter 3, with discussing Obama's hardship during his 21-month presidency campaign. Some of the hardships that he had to deal with was monkey T-shirts being worn at his rallies, elected official who called him uppity, Representative Geoff Davis calling him that boy, like basically, not giving him respect as not even just a politician or the presidential candidate for the United States, but not even giving him respect as a man. So that was something, that he had to deal with. The vendors in Texas stating that if he's elected, the White House will still be called the White House. Obama food stamps with ribs, watermelon and fried chicken. Backlash from BET founder Robert Johnson, who basically said that he doesn't support the black cause or the black agenda, and he's basically a sellout. And Obama's agenda for Black America, which was the same for all America, which is something that he stated throughout his campaign when he was asked. They said, "So what is your agenda for Black America?" And he said, "My agenda for Black America is the same as all of America." So that was something that they went into more details with. And it goes back into the chapter of the politics of identity, where it's basically saying that in order for black politicians to succeed, they had to understand that it was so much more than just adhering to black culture, but to the American culture and understanding the needs of the majority, which is white people. During an exclusive interview with Michelle Obama, one of the quotes that I loved from the book that kind of exemplified what breakthrough politics was and everything that was basically stated in the book was you just don't walk away from the past. You bring it along with you. It is always a part of the tradition. You don't move to the next phase without understanding what happened in the civil rights movement. Gwen Ifill, basically, that was Gwen Ifill's complete inspiration for writing the book, because she stated multiple times throughout the book that a lot of things that occurred would not have occurred in politics if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, and a lot of things would not have occurred for black people in general today if it wasn't for the sacrifices and the struggles that the civil rights people had to go through in the 1960s. So I feel like that quote from Michelle Obama during the interview was definitely something that shed light on the situation and shed light as to why she was inspired to write the book and why we have a black president today. My critique of the book, I think the book was overall a good book. I think it was it definitely, like Gwen said, it definitely showed you how the civil rights movement basically set the precedent for today, but it also showed you that, although we have a black president, there was still a lot of adversity or there was still a lot of things that Obama had to do in order to cater to the white majority in order to gain their vote. You know, it said in the book that Obama received 43% of the white vote, which was 2% more than John Kerry, and that had to do with political identity, with him understanding that he had to identify with all facets, all race. He received 67% of Latino vote, you know, although that decreased in the 2012, you know, this book came out in 2008, so I could only reference that. But it basically all goes back to political identity and, you know, what he did in the campaign and what he decided to focus more on, and being able to, you know, step outside of what a black agenda was. So I think that was very good to show. And it also showed, you know, some of the other people that came along. You know, Artis Davis, I didn't know who he was. Arthur Davis, I didn't know who he was before the book, but to see all the adversity that he had to go through in Alabama, you know, to become, you know, somebody that was in office and from 2001 to 2007, you know, that was definitely something that was insightful to me, because I didn't think, you know, in an area like Alabama, it was possible for a black man to get into politics and gain office and the support and the vote. And, you know, it just goes to show you that if you have the right political identity, you know, the sky's the limit. And it did break the barrier. You know, it also talks about in the book that is Barack Obama the Babe Ruth of politics, or is he the Tiger Woods? Could he do for American government what Tiger Woods did for golf? And I feel like he has, for better or worse. You know, they're gonna always be critics about his political, his presidential terms, and, you know, what he did, what he didn't do, or did do for the black people or something like that. But when you look at it, at the end of the day, he faced a lot of adversity, and as the civil rights movement, as Gwen Ifill said, basically paved the way for Obama to be able to go into office, and for many other politicians to be able to go into office and have the opportunity, and for us as black people to have the opportunities to have a better life and to have a fairer life. I think it goes the same to say that Obama has basically made it easier, or he basically broke down the barrier of racial, you know, biasness in politics. You know, he made it. He showed little kids that you could be a black president, there can be a black president of the United States of America. And although racism and a lot of these racial inequalities still exist, we have come a long way from the Jim Crow laws and some of the things that we've dealt with in the past. So I definitely recommend this book to anybody who just wants some inspiration, you know, and may not believe, you know, this is just one incident of, you know, lightning struck in the bottle of Obama, you know, taking in office, because Gwen Ifill definitely points out many different circumstances, situations where other black politicians were able to break that barrier. So it's becoming a universal thing, and the breakthrough politics is real, and it's alive, and it's here today. And I recommend this book for anybody who needs some inspiration on that.